Welcome, reading one, you old medicine motherfuckers. I know that might be like for some of you, are like, oh my gosh. Yes, because like you guys, I don't even know what your card is, but I can tell you right now, like this is no joke. And before we even find out what your card is, I have to tell you, I feel like they want me to come down a little bit lower. Okay. Ah! Seriously, you guys are so powerful and you're so magical. And I think the reason why they wanted me to be abrasive and use a word like motherfuckers is because it's like, it's an endearing term, 37. If you keep seeing the number 37 or 73 or any form of that in something, 1037, 1073, they're saying that is spirit trying to talk to you. And if you see it in like 10 or something like that, it's like the one is for you to, it's telling you to come back to self. And 7 and 3 together is 10, which is completion. But if you take off the 0, it's 1, it's the beginning, it's self. And I feel like your mission, should you choose to accept it during the Saturn and Pisces journey, the season over the next 3 years, is to really hone your gifts, your skills, come back to self, remember who you are. Look at that cool little old piece of wood. Like I saw that hiking. I usually hike in pretty old growth forests and stuff. So when I find something neat and cool like this, I pick it up because I feel like it's meant, to be seen. And I feel like this is you guys. I feel like you're like this cool, old, interesting, piece of branch bark. Hold on, I'm going to go down a little bit so you can see it. The lighting in here is not so great. I live in the Pacific Northwest and I live off grid. Doesn't that kind of look like an alligator? Like, doesn't it look like the mouth and the eyes? And the alligator has been our spirit medicine and our spirit animal for 2023. So if you haven't worked with the alligator yet, you may want to work with the alligator. Even though this is the animal that wants to walk with you, I'm hearing that the alligator also wants to work with you. But yeah, you guys are really old medicine, which doesn't surprise me with the rosemary either, because rosemary is one of the most protective of them. In fact, I'm going to go in here. I want to read you something really quick. Okay, I don't know how this is going to play out. 232, by the way. I don't know how this is going to play out. If you're new here, when I call off numbers or certain things, that's for you to research on your own. You can take notes right now and look it up later. Anyway, so rosemary is, the planetary ruler of rosemary is the sun. So I feel like for you guys, your sun sign, I don't know, check out and see like what your sun sign is. But, we do have 4 mutable planets that are going to, have more intense experiences through this Saturn in Pisces return, or however you want to word it. And those are the mutable signs of Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius. So you may align in there, or you may have one of those in your sun sign, because rosemary, they asked me to look it up, and rosemary's planetary ruler is the sun. It could also be that you're somebody that loves the sun and you're like struggling a lot, and spirit's like, why do you still live in a place? My friend used to post this every year for winter because she loved her family, she loved her husband and everything, but she hated living in Chicago, like hated it. Like she was in the summer and the fall, she was like the happiest person, but in like winter and spring, she was just like miserable. She's so miserable. And she used to post the same thing every year on her social media, and it was this little cartoon of a little girl who is like all bundled up, and you could tell like from the cartoon that it's really cold. And she said, the air hurts my face, dot dot dot, why do I live in a place where the air hurts my face? So in the next 3 years, I feel like this is going to be a time for you guys to really think about where you want to live, and or relocating, and using the energy of astrology to do that. And also, let me tell you something. When I was putting your reading together, all of these different variations of the moon were coming in. Okay, like I have different, things that I use because of my channel. Obviously, if you found yourself here, you know that I do 8 moon phases readings a month. That is my jam. That's what spirit has called me to do. And I feel like you guys, like, I'm almost feeling as if you are meant to also really live by the moon. And you don't have to like follow my channel or watch my readings, but like maybe it's for you to finally go after what you want. And to do that, you need to follow the moon cycles. It's different for all of us, okay? It is literally different for all of us. So I'm not going to tell you like who you are, and you know what I'm saying? But I definitely feel like, because that came up, and then I have another one in another book I'm going to read you. This one came through, like all of a sudden, all of these bookmarks out of my books when I was going to look up rosemary, they were falling out. So it's not an accident. You know, when I asked Spirit if we were going to pull more cards than just the one, they're like, no, because it's just about the spirit animal that they need to get in tune with and walk with during the next 3 years. But, and work with, you know, on your gifts and all that attunement and everything to their energies. But also, it's about the moon for you guys. I mean, they wouldn't have, the way Rosemary came in, I don't even know, because I like being surprised too. When I looked down, it was 550. Again, 5 and 5. So fives are about change and transformation. 5 and 5 is 10. And there we are, back to that number. So that's coming up for you guys a lot. And I feel like this lightning bolt on the back of the card is telling you it's time to bring out your superhero. It's time to, like, if you like, even the way they had me put the tree here, and look at this old branch that I have up here. It's like, it almost looks like they're the same tree. I feel like some of you need to get out of the city. It's time to live in nature, really live in nature. And, you know, finding a way to make a life for yourself. Also, I'm getting from some of you, you keep thinking you're not going to be able to find a job where you want to live, and they're like, you don't know that. That is your third dimensional ego. That is like this limitations. And in the next 3 years, Saturn in Pisces is all about seeing beyond limitations. Look at the Pisces energy. Not only is it the end of the zodiac, you know, astrological year, it's the 12th house, right? It's the end, which we're talking about you, like 10 ends, completion, beginnings, but also it's just the fabrication and the rules and like all of these things that have been put before you that aren't true. You know, it's like Spirit wants you to start seeing the world through your eyes, through the magic and whatever. It's like, you know, if you keep saying to yourself and giving yourself limitations that you can't do it, then you won't. If you keep saying, I can't leave this person, then you won't. If you keep saying, I'm going to keep taking abuse from this job, this boss, this parent, this friend, this vehicle, this town, this space, the air hurts my face, that's on you, man. Like, you don't have to fucking stay there. You think you do. It's comfortable there. But in the next 3 years, Spirit wants you to step out of your comfort zone. And it's not going to be easy. If you're one of those signs, or you have those signs heavy in your, especially for you and your sun, because they're connecting it to Rosemary. I mean, that's pretty intense. Also, they want me to read out of the book that it's the gender is masculine for Rosemary. Okay. So I'm going to go in here. There's 2 books. Okay. So I love Scott Cunningham's books. A lot of people don't like his stuff. I do. I have his old original book and I have his newer book. I have actually a few of his books, and I have also this other book called The Magical Household. And I don't know, hold on a second. Okay, sorry. I know it's been a second for you, but I kind of went down a wormhole. So I'm sorry, I'm coming back. But a wormhole of good. Like, I just like got so much information, which is so interesting because in real time today is March 7th, 2023, and it is the full moon in Virgo. It is the worm moon in Native American culture. We are working with the Native Spirit deck. Whenever you watch this, always timeless, but in real time, the worm represents spring, the thaw, coming out of winter, coming out of that energy. And that's what I feel like you are. No matter whether you're in northern or southern hemisphere, I feel like you guys are coming out of the thaw. Like, during the next 3 years, you're going to really, really, really come out as your witch, your healer, and your deep down believer of magic. You're not going to let people hold you back anymore. You're going to start seeing the same repetitive patterns. You know, I remember one of the first times I saw the same pattern play out where I really saw the Matrix. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. The Matrix, that moment where you're like, we've been here before. I've had this argument with you. We've like done this. Like, why the fuck are we still talking about this? Like, why are we still arguing about this? You know, like the light coming in, the illumination of the moon, right? Like, all of a sudden that aha moment where you're like, what the fuck? And it's so bright though. It's almost like fuzzy, almost like faded. Also, is it just me, or have you guys been scrying in here? But all of a sudden I saw like an eye here, and then all of a sudden this kind of looks like an owl to me too. So, you know, you guys are my scryers. You've got so many gifts. That's why they had me show you, you know, this little guy down here, you know, because you know that there's more in nature and medicine. Like, you understand it. You understand it. And just so you know, I'm not plugging doTERRA. It's just one of our tribe members. We do a lot of trades, and so she helps me out. Anyway, so also, real rosemary is better than the essential oil, and the essential oil is magnificent because you can use it for so many different purposes. You know, for like a spray around the house, it helps keep away dark energies and things like that. I want you to research rosemary more on your own. We're going to talk about it, but you know, I want you to really research it more on your own. To see how it's applicable to your situation. But actual real sprigs of rosemary are the most potent in my experience, especially when you let them dry and you burn them. Especially even more if you burn them in like a bundle that you created with like lavender and sage and, you know, or whatever ones you like. And sometimes, you know, if this is an interesting thing, I know it sounds bizarre, but if you have let's just say somebody like burns sage and you're like, oh God, that makes me sick or it's giving me a headache. If a scent like that, a real one from the earth, if it's organic and it's real and it's not like pesticides and shit, it's usually because you need to work with that energy. That's your darkness. That's your shadow. That's having an offensive reaction to it. So it means you need to work with it. Okay. Now it's different for everybody, right? It's different for everybody. I'm just telling you, in my experience, that's what that means. Okay. So the folk names are dew of the sea, rosemary, sea dew, rosemarine, rosemarie, gordrobe, elf leaf. I love it. Incensier. Nice. Libanatus, Greek. And the Latin is Rosemarianus officinalis, which is kind of cool that they do actually put that on the essential oil bottles. I do love doTERRA. I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't use them if I didn't like their products, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not here to like plug it. That's not what this is about. This is about you. And I'm pretty sure if you want to get oils or whatever, you will get them on your own. Okay. But my thing is, only use any type of rosemary that you're going to use over the next 3 years. Just make sure that it's clean, it's safe, you know where it came from, nobody was harmed in the process of, you know, getting it, that kind of thing. That stuff is really important, okay? So this can be masculine and also hot. Like, instead of putting in his first books, Scott Cunningham put the gender as masculine, and his second book he put it as hot. So if that means anything to you, okay? And then we already said we know that that's planetary ruler is the sun. The element is fire. And the basic powers are purification, love, intellectual, and protection. Those are the key words and the basic powers. And it says, add to all purification bath sachets, love incense, exorcism mixtures, and protection incenses. Wear a chapelet of rosemary to aid the memory. Hung up, it wards off thieves. It has connections with the sea, and so is used in all sea rituals as well as in sachets designed to ensure a safe, easy passage on the water. Okay, so if you watch the intro of this from Spirit, the messages from Spirit, when I looked down, it was 1313. So yeah, I mean, come on, that's the number of the witch, the divine feminine. So it could even be that some of you, you know, because it's a mass reading, it could be that some of you are missing the divine feminine energy, which is why Spirit's trying to like get you to use that over the next 3 years. Or it could be that some of you are too guarded and you're masculine and you're not allowing the feminine to come in, right? Because it's one or the other. You're either, and it could be both. Maybe in certain situations and certain people, you're like really strong because you're like, you think by being strong and mean is setting your boundaries instead of staying the same person that you are all the time, and setting your boundaries, because, you know, this Saturn in Pisces journey is going to be all about boundaries and karma. It's a big one, right? And discipline. And you know, the more you treat people differently, the more they will respect and respond to you differently. If you are acting one way with, like, let's just say your community and your people, and you feel safe, so you can be your witch and get your witch on or whatever, but then when you're like with your family or you're at work, you have to be a different person, you're in the wrong place. And you can stay at those places if you stay who you are. And then you can let them decide, right? If your job's like, you can't wear that to work, be like, well, then I'm not going to work here. That's discrimination, and that's who I am. And I spoke about this in one of the other readings recently that I saw on America's Got Talent. This beautiful young goddess witch, fairy witch, she came out like dressed as a fairy, like as an elf, or I don't remember. I think she was a fairy. But either way, she stayed in character like the whole time, and people loved her and they loved what she did and what she bring to them. You know, it's like she was like a little Mary Poppins, but she held true to who she was. So that's what the next 3 years is going to be about, is showing everybody that it's okay to be yourself. Have you ever seen those movies? No, one doesn't come to mind, but have you ever seen those movies? Actually, thank you. Yes, it does. If you haven't seen the movie Birdcage with Robin Williams and Gene Hackman, Diane Wiest, I can go on and on and on. There's so many amazing actors in that. Nathan Lane, but Callista Flockhart. I always forget that she's in that. And so, you know, it's about these two families coming together. This young couple fall in love. They want to get married. But her family, her father's in politics, really rigid, right wing Republican, Christian, all that. And then his parents are two gay men who've been together for years, and they raised him together. And even though one of the partners was more in the feminine driven role of the mother, and even considered themselves that and said that in the film, it was when they came together, they had to pretend like they were somebody else, because the guy was like, I really love her, I want to marry her, and I don't want our family, you know, blah blah. And they're trying to make this utopia work. And I don't want to give it away. If you've never seen it, watch it. It's hilarious. It's a great comedy. It's a really coming of age comedy for all of us, and just our coming of age as humanity. But the most important part is at the end. There's this moment where the really rigid people have to actually go into the world that they wouldn't normally, because they needed an escape route. They needed to be able to flee, and you know, a semi-dangerous environment to them. You know, I don't want to give away too much, right? And so then at the end you saw them kind of like soften up a bit, because they're like, you know what, that's who you are and this is who we are, but there's got to be some common ground somewhere in the middle for all of us. And I feel like for you guys, until you can, like, you know, deal with that, it might be best for you to just, like, you know, be abstract and like pull yourself away from certain people in certain situations. But I'm getting over the next 3 years. Also, I kept seeing moving, and when I went to go look at something in the book, literally it opened up to this, it said chapter 15, moving. And I was like, oh my gosh. So if 15 means anything to you, we were just talking about fives and ones and tens and beginnings and endings. So that's really beautiful. But also, if you add it together, it's the number 6. So that could mean something to you guys as well. Okay, so it says rosemary, when burned, emits powerful cleansing and purifying vibrations, and so is smoldered to rid a place of negativity, especially prior to performing magic. It is one of the oldest incenses. I love burning rosemary. That's what I'm telling you. If given the choice, I love rosemary oil because I use it for a lot of things, and it's really good for hair loss. If you want to make a tincture for yourself, research rosemary. I mean, I want you to research more on rosemary. That is your, over the next 3 years, like, I want you to work really tightly with rosemary, but I also want you to use it as a regular incense around you, because I feel like some of you are living in this like woe is me, like kind of like dark energy, and spirit's like, you don't need to be there. Like, it doesn't belong to you. You know, you've been there for a long time because you've been working through some hard shit, 18, 16. But now it's time for you to pull yourself out and go back into like where you started, like where you began, like your old magic. Like, seriously, at the beginning, you know, working in meditations, past life, working with astrology, getting your birth chart. There are so many ways to get your birth chart free online right now. So many. Cafe Astrology is one that I like to use. Also, finding out the day you were born. Moongiant.com, I think, does it. Or either way, you can just, like me, I would put in December 13th, 1971, and then it would tell me what day and what moon cycle. So I was born on a moon day on a waxing gibbous. And interesting that I was born on a waxing gibbous, because waxing gibbous is about refining and focusing. And I feel like this whole lifetime has been about me refining my gifts and focusing on like who I really am. So that at the end of my life now, towards, you know, now I'm in my beginning of my crone at 51, not the end of my life, but I'm saying halfway through. I think I'm going to live to be pretty old, I hope. If it's in the cards, then it will be. And interesting, I saw something recently that said, isn't it the way that all the people who like always wanted to die or kill themselves, when they finally like reach enlightenment and they realize that they just needed to like shed that old exoskeleton, like we spoke about in the beginning of this when we were choosing our piles, our readings, you know, it's like, it's the same It's the same for you. It's about shedding that exoskeleton and like coming to life. So, it's okay if you want to die, or you feel depressed and miserable. It's because that's your body and your soul reacting to, it's actually your body reacting to your soul not fulfilling its mission. And it knows that it's not in the right place and it's not doing the right thing. So they want you to listen to that. It's like you can do that. I'm going to go dark a little bit. You can do that in the darkness. They don't want me to go any darker. So you can do that in the darkness, but it's not going to help you in the long run if you stay in the darkness. We work in the darkness and then we get out. You are meant to stay in the light, and they had me put like a little dark vignette, like haze around your reading, right? Because that's what it is. You feel a little hazy right now. You don't have all the answers. You're not supposed to. The next 3 years are going to be such a tell-all. And for those of you who've been walking with me a long time, like everything that we've learned over the last several years is all going to come to be. You're going to see it unfold in front of you in ways that you didn't even know could be. I'm readjusting. Okay. So, also they're saying if you place a piece of rosemary beneath the pillow, it ensures a good night's sleep and drives the nightmares away. Laid under the bed, it protects the sleeper from all harm. Rosemary is also hung on the porch and doorpost to keep thieves from the house and is carried to remain, and if carried, is to help you remain healthy. Placed in the bath, it purifies. Also, you guys, I like to hang rosemary sprigs like your local grocery store most likely will get them organic, like they've already been snipped for you. In a perfect world, you could even go like on Craigslist or somewhere and just be like, hey, does anybody like look or put an ad in the wanted section and just be like, hey, I'm looking for, sprigs of rosemary. Do you have a big rosemary bush that's like over, as long as they're not using pesticides and things like that. Those are really great to hang, do a blessing over them, rinse them, bring them home and just like rinse them. You don't have to wash them. You just kind of like put them in like some clean water and do a blessing over them, and then just hang them around in your windows, hang them from the top of like your window on strings. I've done that and I don't give a fuck if people think I'm crazy. Like I can't wait to like do those kind of things like with our next home. Even now, the way that we live, I've put like there's rosemary all over this place that I put around. Also, like salt helps around the house as well. So just all these different ways. So I want you, the time is running out, 22:11, and they really want to reveal your spirit animal. We're going to move on to that. So that's all we're going to talk about with the rosemary. There's so much for you to research on rosemary. Those were just some highlights. It's also really great to do, to put rosemary oil in water in a spray that you could spray around your altar, in the air, if it purifies the air. Actually, if you throw in some rosemary, lemon, and lavender, oh my gosh, like it will really purify the air, because the lemon and lavender are like really potent germ killers. I was talking to this nurse recently who said that she thought like all these like killing all the germs, and that she goes, that's what's killing us. 2255. Oh, you guys are powerful. She said that's what's killing us, is that we haven't been able to like really we need the germs. Like our bodies are beautiful machines. They were designed to adapt to their surroundings, which is why we are all human beings, but why some human beings on different parts of the world have thicker, darker skin, because they're exposed more to the elements, to sun, where some of us who are, we go more inward. In the winter, our skin is lighter. You know what I mean? It's like all of these things that our bodies know how to adapt. We've just been manipulated over a long, long time, hundreds and thousands of years. And now in the next 3 years, we're going to see real medicines come back. We're going to see, I love the doTERRAs of the world. You know what I mean? It's like, we need it. We need those things, because even people are like, oh, it's for housewives or whatever. I'm like, first of all, it's not for housewives. I'm like, it's for everybody, but it's also for housewives, or household people, whatever terminology people want to use. But it's really, really potent and powerful how much people are realizing that they can make and create their own things. And they don't want that, right? They want us to keep feeding their bank accounts. But in the next 3 years, we're going to see so many things change, you guys. Like, it's going to be beautiful. And if you keep that mindset that it's going to be beautiful and it's exciting, when you're going to have moments where you're going to get upset and you're going to cry, of course you are. But over the 3 years, it's how you respond to them. And everything we've been talking about for years on this channel, and I've been going through my own awakening, you know, and working as a guide and a leader. I too am a student, and I'm learning every day, all the time, more things. There's so much to learn from this planet. Gaia has so much to teach us. And so the next 3 years, we're going to be coming back to the environment, back to the planet, because that time of the old age is gone. It's done. They've done enough damage, and now it's time for Gaia to recorrect herself. That's why all these floods and earthquakes, yes, it's fucking horrific, but it's also for people to see that is real. Because Gaia can't operate. If you keep poisoning her, she's like, I'm going to fucking come back and beat your ass. And you guys have to have that energy. You can still be the sweet, loving energy that you are, but you also have to be a badass motherfucker. Like me, I'm the same way. I'm soft and gooey on the inside, more than just my avatar. You know what I mean? Like, my soul is like, just wants to love and play and be joyful and run around with puppies and kids and humans and just enjoy life and eat good food and just enjoy the planet. But, you know, I need to have my badass motherfucker who's like, stop it, no more. You know, like the parent that's like, okay, and then it's like, no, enough. Somebody's going to get hurt. Let's stop now. And then someone gets hurt and then they learn the lesson, right? It's like, well, we've learned the lessons. And now it's time for the healing. So the next 3 years are going to be all about healing beautiful souls. So your spirit animal, if you wish to accept their guidance, this is the spirit animal that wants to walk with you. The frog, and it's in reverse. Okay, can we just talk about, if you're like into witchy stuff, you know, like the frog is like, oops, sorry, I went a little too dark there. The frog in spirit is like, it's such a magical creature. So we're going to read about them, but because it was in reverse, it was in the contrary position, I'm going to read that first. So hold on. Also, you guys, when I went to open the book, it opened up by itself to number 15, which is the wolf, the teacher. Did we not just talk about number 15 and moving? So that has to do with some of you. If that aligned with you, that spirit with moving, that's not an accident. So you are a teacher, and over the next 3 years, you are going to step into the teaching role. And so work with the wolf spirit animal over the next 3 years. I got the chills. You guys are so freaking powerful. But also it's, you know, each of these spirit animals has their own little like poem. And this one says, wolf, teacher, pathfinder, moon dog of my soul, howling, singing, teaching how to know. Oh, I'm so excited for you guys. Okay, so the frog is number 38, which is also the number 11. So remember, we spoke about that too. So like, I mean, the angel realm, that's what the witches come from. The witches, the healers, and the deep down believers, they come from the angel realm. And that's where you guys come from. You probably align with that. The Lemurians, we spoke about that in the intro video. So the frog is all about cleansing. So that is your energy that you're going to be working with. And look at rosemary cleansing. Rosemary is all about cleaning your aura, cleaning your environment, right? Like taking away that dark energy, getting the cobwebs out so that you can resurface back out into the world. And the frog says, sing, frog, sing. Call the rains, quench the dryness, and cleanse the earth. Then fill me up again. Oh, I love it. 2803. Okay, so in contrary, it says, frog slipped in the mud and is lying on its back, unable to right itself. All right, so let's put him upside down because that's the way he came out. We're going to read both, but that's how he came out. Get ready for more mud in your eye. The contrary position of frog can denote an unwillingness on your part to wipe the mirror out of your life. Remember, we spoke about that, right? Where Spirit said, if you don't want to do that, you won't. If it's not going to happen, it won't, because you are neglecting to remember that you have all the power in the world. It's your choice. The longer you stay in something, that's your choice. If you feel with every fiber of your being that you are meant to stay in that situation, then at least embrace the lessons along the way. Live in the mud then, but have your eyes wide open all the time. It says the contrary position of frog can denote an unwillingness on your part to wipe the mirror out of your life. Mud can turn from mirror to bog to quicksand if you don't recognize its effect on your present situation. Is someone draining your energy? Are you allowing yourself to ride down the tubes with them? Have you tried to settle someone else's quarrel and gotten in the line of fire? Stop. Recognize what it is that is mucking up the lily pond. Swim with the frog. Frog's bug eyes see it all. Dive deeply and then hop to the next lily pad to catch the sun. Oh, and sun is Rosemary's ruler. I mean, so work with your, you need to find out what position is in your sun too, because also that's the energy that may be testing you quite a bit during your journey as well. Also, look at the way the sun, I just noticed this, it's been cloudy here. And look at how the sun is coming through on the card right now. I thought it was the candle, but it's not. This, do you see the sun? Like it's coming through. You can see the lightning bolt in the back. And I feel like that's spirit saying to you, like, your superhero is, it's right here. That's your insignia. Also work with the lightning bolt. That's not an accident either. You know what I mean? The fact that the sun was kind of like coming down on it like that was like really powerful. Sorry, I turned it and I feel like they want me to go back this way. Okay. We're going to keep it dark for a second, okay? So dive deeply and then hop to the next lily pad to catch the sun. And this way, you may see exactly what has been draining your energy. At times, all of life's activities can be overwhelming, and everyone occasionally needs a break. Contrary frog can signal one of these moments, but can also portend a time of feeling waterlogged. In feeling waterlogged, you may be dealing with too many emotions or feelings. This is to say that the world is too much with you, or that you have immersed yourself in one idea or activity to the exclusion of all other facets of your life. If this is the case, a break from routine is suggested. Hop to other lily pads or visit other ponds for a while. Negativity is drawn to you when you refuse to give yourself the time and space needed to assume a new viewpoint. Frog in the contrary position is an omen that you are courting disaster if you don't stop and smell the lilies, eat some flies, and bask in the sun and ribbit until the rain comes to refill your spirit. Also, in that darkness when you're there, like now, that's actually really beautiful, by the way. This is what Spirit wants you to see, that the darkness is beautiful. It's not a bad place. It's not, it's as beautiful as the light. It just is in the perspective of looking at it. And for some of you, I got a message when I was reading that, Spirit downloaded a message to me that for some of you, speaking of the pandemic, when you were in the pandemic, you received the greatest gift of all: silence, being able to be alone. Some of you, like, I think either you have to go back to work or you're going back to work or you've gone back to work already and you just hate it. And you're like, gosh, I miss that. Well, there are so many jobs you can do from home, they're saying, number one. And number two, you've kind of like stayed in the darkness, and Spirit wants you to come back out to the light. Because for some of you, it was good for you in some ways because you got to recalibrate in a lot of ways because you overwork, you're always running. But then on the flip side of that, their concern for you is that now you've gone too far, like introverted, and like you need to find and seek balance there. Okay. Interestingly enough, they don't want me to read the upright of the frog. They want you to research more information. That is your mission should you choose to accept it. Go into any search engine that you love, and they want you to look up everything you can on the frog spirit medicine. All right, you guys, those are your messages. I really hope they help you, and I send you so much warmth and happiness and love and abundance and peace on your journey through Saturn and Pisces. I love you so much. Until next time, take good care of yourselves and each other. Blessed be. Oh.